joking, but some might also not know that you two are brothers. But for our audience, could you give us kind of like a brief introduction about yourselves, your background, kind of your journey as creator? I'll just start in order of the Discord. So Blanky, you first.
Cool. Okay, so my name is Alio. I go by Blanky the community. I am the CEO of Zen Creative Studios, one of the studios developing branded and personal experiences inside of Fortnite. You probably have seen a couple of our things pop up from time to time. And yeah, we've been doing this for about four-ish years, I think it is. And we
Since
are
the
from New
beginning.
Zealand. Yeah, so
Nice.
Yep.
4 years?
Yeah.
And
long
Kamui.
time.
Yeah, so hey, my name is Theodore, and yeah, from New Zealand, and also yeah, I've been working in the space since the beginning. So
Very,
short
very
and
beginning.
sweet.
Look, if Immature is here. Immature gets it. What's up, Immature?
Hey,
Hey
was
guys.
good.
Hi everybody. Welcome, welcome. All right. Well, thank you for the introductions, y'all. Yeah, we've got a lot of great questions, and we've got two of you. So I'm gonna dive into it because usually with one, we can only get through these questions. So we're gonna see how it
Yeah.
goes. But yeah, let's kick it off. So this is a great question to kick it off with. Thank you, Aiden. Can you tell us a bit about how Zen Creative came to be and what inspired you to start creating within Fortnite together?
Yeah, so I mean it's kind of a tricky one. So Kamui here started creative, but well, we both started when we back at the beginning of Fortnite Creative when it initially launched. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get a creator code. Kamui was. So we were building to some extent, and then I stopped for a little bit because without a creator code, you couldn't really publish, couldn't really do much. So it was kind of difficult. But as we kind of connected throughout the community, we were building a lot more together. We made a lot of really good friends that we are really close with right now, which gave us a lot of opportunities to do some really cool things back in around about 2020, where we were fortunate enough to do the Spyro collaboration with Epic Games, which was like a Among Us style murder mystery type game, which was really fun to build. But this was like the initial kind of launch into kind of building these experiences. Then we decided, we're kind of doing this individually, and there were a lot of teams popping up, and we thought, why not build a team out of this? So I told Kamui, and Kamui was like, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, we got to do it because, opportunities, and there's some really, really cool things that can come out of it. And then we thought, you know what, why not? And then for the longest time, it was just me and Kamui. We built a few experiences kind of here and there that one of the main things we try to do is innovate and create new things. Yeah, and then we came about the name Zen Creative, which I'll be honest, it was a bit of a wheel spin. We had a whole bunch of names we wanted to pull from, and that's just one of the ones that I kind of landed on. We talked to a couple of friends about it, and now we're here. So we've been able to do a lot of really cool things in the community. If you've kept up to date with what we do, we worked with the Alan Wake experience to some extent, was one of the most recent experiences that we worked on. And then we also have worked on like My Hero Academia. We've worked on Frank's Hot Sauce, and there's a whole bunch of branded experiences we've done in the past here and there, some with Epic, some external clients that have kind of led us to this moment. Yeah.
Very cool. Anything you'd like to add, Kamui?
Yeah. But it's funny. Zen Creative started with it's like Zen, Yin Yang. We used to have these little mascots. Blanky. It's just don't know how to describe it, but black and white kind of mascots, which and funny enough, kind of correlated with the Zen Creative brand when it was just me and Blanky. So kind of
Yeah, the goal was like the harmonious kind of a collaboration between us. I mean, we're brothers, we're twins. For people who don't know, we fight a lot, but we also get along really well and can kind of do some really cool things together. You know, if people who have been in a room with us hear us kind of yapping away, talking and kind of getting ideas and trying to, you know, see what we can come up with, and we're just like, you know, clicking as to what we can do next. So that's kind of where that came from, and we kind of built on that foundation.
Nice. Well, I'm glad you all came together. Two heads are better than one, and you've really been able to build something super cool. And we've got some more questions that were submitted about kind of building a team even further and stuff like that. So we'll definitely get into that. Thank you so much for the insight. It's super cool. So like you were talking about, your team, Zen Creative, has gained quite a bit of recognition for the innovative designs you've had within Fortnite. Are there any insights that you could share regarding your approach to creating immersive experiences within Fortnite? I know that's a big key that you like to focus on.
Yeah. So yeah, one of our biggest things with Zen is we want to innovate. We want to create, you know, really immersive experiences with the toolset we have. You know, it's still growing, but we want to try to create experiences that stand out from what's being developed currently. And I feel like that's it has its pros and cons. You know, it's trying to find that balance between, you know, innovation and immersion, as well as what's kind of trending and what's going to do well, because you know, they kind of come hand in hand in the sense that if you're going to develop full immersion or go full the innovation route, there is a potential that it won't do well. So trying to find a balance between the two. But in terms of like how we kind of approach it, you know, I'd say we're very creative people in the sense that we've always looked for creative outlets to pull from in the past. We've always been really you know, interested in the kind of development side of things in terms of creation, UGC, of all types of games out there in the past. And Fortnite was one of those places that we could kind of go crazy and build whatever we wanted. You know, if we had an idea and we're like, damn, we're gonna do that, like, let's do it. You know, creating what we love is one of the main key points that we try to do. Is we want to create things that we're super inspired by, but also that we're like, at the end of the day, we put out a product that we're like, this is really cool. This is a statement that we're trying to make, and hopefully it reflects on people. You know, we just try to just enjoy what we do and love it.
Hey. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
No barking.
But
oh, she doesn't understand. This is a very serious interview.
That's fine. That's fine.
I can mute
But
myself.
no, you're good.
Luna.
The
Luna.
she's supposed to join in on the chat.
I'll just mute myself everywhere. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. But yeah, in terms of like, you know, putting stuff out there, you know, it's kind of how we got to this point. You know, building stuff that stands out and is innovative has really pushed us to this point. We wanted to create games that stand out, that don't feel like what's been developed, but also make it fun and make it enjoyable as well, which has been tough. You know, from pushing content out the way we do, it comes at a risk. But you know, at the end of the day, we still really enjoy what we do, and it allows us to do some really cool things and also work with some really cool people and partners. So yeah. Kamui, I don't know if you have anything else to add on to that.
No, not really. Kind of explained it all.
Nice. Okay. I can finally unmute. I was going to ask for each of you, are there any islands that in particular you've worked on that you are like that you were the most excited about, if you can share them, or any ones in particular that you're most proud of?
Yeah, so in my One of my most favorite islands for us, that's been like kind of the peak of our kind of what we've really enjoyed developing was the hero training gym for My Hero Academia. We're pretty big fans in terms of the anime. We really enjoy anime in general, and I feel like it's kind of inspired us to do some really crazy things and when it comes to developing stuff. But
Yeah.
being able to build that experience was one of a kind. You know, I think it's one thing to develop something, but another thing to develop something that you're really passionate about is it just kind of shines through. But that was really fun working with, you know, Epic and Toho to kind of build that up and bring it to life with, which was the 1.0 tool set at the time, which was challenging, but it was it allowed
Yeah.
us to really kind of, you know, dive deep into how can we really push the limits of what we have, and see where we can go with it. That's definitely one of my most favorite experiences so far. Kamui, I don't know if you want to jump on
Yeah,
that.
no, definitely My Hero, the hero training gym. Um, trying, yeah, it's trying to build something that like we we both enjoyed, right? Um, yeah, and with like the 1.0 tool set, we could take it pretty far. And I like you can imagine doing it in like UEFN, right? Making an experience with that. Um, that's what a caliber.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
some really cool experiences that we're looking forward to that are coming out. But all in due time.
Mm.
It's
Ooh.
yeah, we've got a small experience coming out in the next couple of days, which should be fun and chaotic, but it's yeah, looking forward to that.
Mm.
Awesome. Definitely. Another great question too for aspiring creators watching. What advice would you two give in terms of navigating the industry and establishing yourself in the competitive space of game design like this, especially Fortnite game design?
Mm.
Hmm.
Heavy. It's a
Uh,
big one. There's so many
That
ways we could take
is,
this.
um. Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Absolutely. For
Yeah.
aspiring Fortnite creators watching or people who are just, new to the space,
Yeah.
what advice would you give them in terms of navigating the industry and
Okay.
establishing
Cool.
themselves?
Sweet. Just want to make sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think first and foremost, you know, if I'm honest, industry's tough. Like just like any industry, that it's really kind of about who you know and who you're talking to and who you know like networking is a massive part of you know building connections in any industry. And I feel like in this industry, if it wasn't for the connections that we had, you know, it'd be very difficult to kind of get to where we are. But
mm,
you know, it's also genuine connections as well. Like, you know, we've made some really awesome friends who have, you know, we've kind of pulled each other up to get to where we are, and it's. I feel like that's like such a massive thing that people kind of, what would you say, like forget in a way. Um, the you know, a lot of people try to do everything themselves. I mean, I do that quite often. I try to do everything myself, and I
Same.
think connections and you know having people to kind of lean on and help is massive for kind of you know building up a presence in the industry. But also like we're talking about like how can you kind of build recognition to some extent in the industry. Um, you know, it kind of goes back to what we've talked about before, which was you know build well first of all build what you love, you know, then you'll and always enjoy doing what you're doing. If you're building stuff you hate, you're not going to enjoy it and you're just going to hit burn out really really quickly. But also you know stand out to some extent. You want to innovate, which is difficult and it's tough, but um you know if you're creating the same things that everybody else is creating, it's very difficult to stand out from the crowd, which if your aim is to you know be someone who's kind of up there, I do feel like you know I've seen some people who have done even the smallest changes that are different from what people are doing, and they are doing some really big things now, all because of simple little, maybe it's like they take an idea and kind of shift it a little bit, which and kind of add their own creative process to it. There's a lot of different things that I feel can really elevate you in this industry, in terms of recognition and also presence. As I said before, I don't think we would be here if it wasn't for us trying to kind of push the boundaries and push limits and do things different, because I don't feel like we would stand out otherwise. Yeah,
That's a great point.
I
don't know if this. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no,
No,
sorry.
you go.
I was just
Yeah.
gonna warn everyone. I don't know what's going on, but my computer's like, we're gonna force you to relaunch something in 50 minutes. So hopefully we won't be going when that happens. But
We'll try
wanted to
Zoom
flag
through.
it. You
Yeah.
love those, don't we? We love them.
Yeah.
But no, that's wonderful insight. And like you were saying about it's the people you know and building that. I think that really is all of you here, everyone attending the fireside. Getting to know each other in the community is very important. Building that, networking web, that audience, that, connection of people. I see a lot of wonderful people in chat that do that every single day and do that for the community at large. So we all really appreciate you. And in the end, it helps the community, it helps each other, it helps yourself, it helps the platform. So that's definitely a huge, huge takeaway. So thank you for bringing that up, you guys. Let's see. Ooh, I've got another good one here that was submitted. Could you share any memorable experiences or challenges you faced while developing an island? And how did you overcome it?
We've had our fair share of challenges. People who know us, there's pushing the limits or trying to do stuff that hasn't been done before, come with some unfortunate risk, and also we build something, we think it's going to work, and it all burns in flames. It happens. There's a lot of yelling that goes on when that happens, between me and Kamui, as to who needs to fix what. But it's interesting because, like, as I said, we've had our fair share of challenges, and as much as I would like to be like, I wish that never happened,
Yeah.
it has built character and built kind of it's allowed us to kind of build, maybe not build, but kind of grow as developers and creators, and how to do things better or the right way, moving forward. We've had we've had some experience. We had one experience back probably 2 years ago, I think, with one of our games that got featured. We had a hub, when those were a thing, and it was minigame royale, and that that one absolutely burst into flames. We
weren't at home, and we were just working on our laptops, and everything in the map was like this one bug that we could not find and figure out. And actually, no, there were a couple, but it was like
all at once.
Just chain of bugs that were
everything that could have gone wrong went wrong.
Yeah.
Literally. But it's funny because it was like such a, I mean, it's more for the development side of things, but it really taught us what not to do, when building experiences moving forward. We were like, yeah, well, let's definitely not do that. I can't remember what the fix was. It was something stupid, but
there were a lot of things, from like player count. I remember we had a fishing game in there, and everyone went to fish, and the server just did not like that.
No.
But that's just one of the challenges we've had. But we've also had some really interesting challenges with working with partners, working with collaborations as well, have been really interesting. You learn a lot as to how to better things, that do things better, especially running a team. We've had our fair share of, we thought it was the right idea and it wasn't, and let's not do that next time kind of thing with teams, because running a team is really difficult. And but definitely when it comes to challenges and kind of I think most importantly, like when people say, like you kind of need to fail to succeed,
Mm,
it I feel like from our experience, it's just so true because like we've had our fair share of success, and I'm really really proud of those moments. But we've also had a lot of failures, which have
Mm.
kind of pushed us to go and grow and
mm.
do things better, which has been super important. Yeah.
That is super important. That is a huge one. If people like honestly failing, I know it hurts and it sucks and learnings suck. I
Just keep
honestly like
going.
learnings
Yeah.
better. The word learnings, we've
Yeah.
learned that a lot
Yeah.
in a lot of my
Yeah.
reports we
Yeah.
do.
That's a good point.
A little bit of the secret sauce. There's wins and there's learnings, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And God, yeah, we wouldn't be who we were in our careers or in real life if we didn't fail in some sort of way or see other people fail. So and that gets shared, right? So huge
Yeah.
win to fail, weirdly. um, but thank
Gotta
you for
keep
sharing that.
going.
That's
Yeah.
good to hear. Yeah, and especially when you're collaborating with people, the more people there are, sometimes it leads to, of course, amazing, beautiful, wonderful things. And then sometimes there's just too many cooks in the kitchen and it can get a little chaotic, I think,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially in your
It can definitely be
collabs.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see. Ooh, someone was wondering, this is an interesting specific question. Should I make multiple islands or put all of my energy into one island to get the most engagement for like my creations?
Um, yeah, it's tough because like, with the kind of with discovery at the moment, it really is hit or miss. You can get something that you can work on something for a long period of time and it not see the light of day. And you can work on something that you did really quickly and you didn't really care about it too much and it does really
Yeah,
well.
blows
Um,
up.
it's tough. But I mean, I'm biased and I kind of feel like, and I'm always like, let's just build something really, really cool and innovative. It takes us, really put a lot of time and effort into one map and push that out and be proud of it, regardless of how it does. I guess it really depends on, your aim, what you're trying to achieve, what your goals are, because if you're trying to create something that's going to stand out or kind of create something that's going to kind of build your presence, I feel like one map will really kind of showcase it. If you're, you know, driving to, um, I don't know, just get something out there that does well, um, you know, then definitely the multiple island is probably the route. Yeah, it's kind
Mm.
of really depends on what you're trying to achieve. We're always just like, let's build this really wacky project that's going to take us a long time and probably a lot of, so we're going to make us have a lot of sleepless nights, but at the end we're going to be really
Yep.
happy with it. And even if it doesn't do too well, I don't know, I feel like innovative experiences to some extent, depending on how you market it as well, can really define how well it does. I mean, I do feel like if you can effectively market an island well on
Mm,
social platforms and also um, for a ton of different avenues, you can make your experience uh, do really well. A single experience, for example, it's
right.
been done before. You look at a lot of um, you look at a good example to some extent is content creators, developing these big experiences. Yes, they've got a
Yeah.
following, but if it was so hit or miss, it
Mm,
wouldn't be up there.
yeah.
So it depends.
Oh,
Yeah,
a
I'd say
tricky
do what you
question.
want. Do what you want. Do what you love, and as long as you enjoy it, that's all that matters.
That's true. It all kind of comes back to that. I also heard some interesting. So we had when we had who was it? Look North World. Sorry, dyslexia. We had them on. They were talking about how they stumbled upon, for example, was it Don't Push the Button, where they said, oh, we put this button in our map so we could just reset easily in our islands to continue testing. So we hit this button and it would reset all of us. And they said they use that for strategic purposes, and then ultimately went, wait a second, this is a weird thing that we're doing for this reason, but wouldn't that be an interesting thing to integrate into a game loop? And that's how that was born. So I think it's also worth mentioning, like, if you discover something really unique and really crazy and very simple, that's a good one to kind of jump on, right? And just test out to see how it does. And like you're saying, you guys build very elaborate, beautiful things, especially with collaborations. I think, but there's definitely something to be said about putting something out in a way that's entertaining, but maybe not as detailed at the start. And then you can just continue to like build it around what your community enjoys with feedback, I would assume too.
Yeah, like, I mean, with it, like, when you look at, I mean, some of our wackiest ideas have come from just messing around, and we go, oh, that's a cool idea. Let's like
Nice.
build on that. And also like, you don't have to go full throttle and kind of have everything in straight from the beginning, right? Like, you can test the water to some extent. If you have a really crazy idea, or you have an idea that you're really passionate about, but you're not too sure if it's going to do well, you can always like push out like a mini package of it to some extent, and test the waters, see how it does, which is kind of beneficial. If it does do well, you can build on it, right? Because one of the things that we learned the hard way, with one of our experiences, I think it was parking simulator, we did back like I think that was 2 years ago, was we put everything in, and then when it came to getting like people playing it, we were like, oh sweet, we need to update it. We have nothing to update it with because we put everything in it.
So
we were like, damn, okay, that's not a good idea. We should probably like kick back a little bit. But yeah, I mean, you can put like, if you have an idea that you just want to try, and you're not too sure if it's going to do well, you can just put out a mini version of it, test it, see if it works. If like, you're really going to know, if people are playing it, people just don't stick. And sometimes like that's just the reality of like, maybe there's something there that needs to be adjusted, or things need to, or maybe it just doesn't stick with the player base or genre, and it's just fine tuning. Once you've got something fine tuned where people are staying and they are sticking to that game mode and they really enjoy it and they want the updates and they want the kind of full experience, you can go full throttle from that point. We're pretty bad with that though, I will admit. We're quite perfectionists in that sense, and we like to just put all our eggs in our basket and kind of push it out because we want to create something. But it is something we are exploring ourselves, is let's create this mini package, push it out and build on it. If it does well. If it doesn't, then at least you're not putting too much time into, because I mean, we've worked on experiences, instead of being like 6 months long, we push it out and it does absolutely terrible. So like, sometimes it's just a matter of like, test the waters, especially if you're experimenting with new kind of genres or ideas that haven't really been explored, or are maybe too new for the community. It's kind of a good way to tackle it.
Yeah, that's a great point. This is a very specific question about verse. And Kamui, I bet you have a great answer for this too, since I know you do a lot of the Q&A stuff as well. When debugging in verse, what is the most helpful tip you would give to beginners who can't figure out what's wrong with their code?
Can I butt in for a second, Kamui? First
of
all, read your code 10 times, because so many times it just takes one grammar error that someone's just accidentally put in, and it saves you hours of work. But anyway, I'm not that verse developer, so can we go ahead and,
I mean, it's definitely that. I mean, there's a lot of things. I think like, as a tip, I think like, what would it be? It'd be one, breaking it down. If you don't like, if something isn't working and you've already tried a couple things, you kind of want to like go back to like where, like maybe go back to where like the game starts, right? And build your way through slowly. Okay, cool. Is this working? Is this working? Maybe like just really like proofread it. There's a lot of times, there's been some times where like I'll be like, why isn't this working? Why isn't this like HUD device showing up? And then I'll realize, oh, the verse device isn't put down. And
or it's not even turned on. Like, yeah,
they're not even turned on. Yeah.
Oh.
I'll be like, oh, that's great. Just wasted like maybe 4 hours
Oh
of
no.
like the simplest thing. Sometimes the resolution.
That's true.
And
It's like the
yeah,
unplug, plug in, or restart,
yeah,
or do
yeah,
it's like,
something.
oh, why is my phone
literally.
not charging? You didn't plug it in. But
Yeah.
no, yeah, definitely definitely come up with like a list of ideas of, okay, what could be happening, identify
Right.
what is it,
But
what do you want to happen, and kind of break it down from there.
What's
yeah,
all
'Cause,
involved with that? Yeah.
yeah,
yeah, we
because
ran
normally
into a
it's a
lot of
path
things.
backwards.
Yeah, we try
Mm.
to narrow things down as to what it could be related to, which
Mhm.
is sometimes very painful because you just don't know. But if you
Yeah.
can find out if it's like in a certain part of your game, with certain things are activating, or certain maybe it's to do with a certain device, then at least you can kind of narrow down your search. Because I mean, if you're looking for the entire experience and you're trying to figure it out, it's you're probably going to be there for a good couple hours. But proofread, definitely check your code twice, because so many
Or 10
times we run
times.
into, yeah, so many times we run in and we're like, oh, wonder why this is working. Oh, I didn't change this number to this, or I forgot to put this in, or I commented this out. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's helpful. We got an additional question on this one, on the fly, which has been upvoted quite a bit, so I'll throw it in. In your recommendations, what is the best way to start learning verse?
So like I started without any programming language like knowledge
Nice.
as such.
Yeah.
So what I kind of started with was like recreating you know, a gun game, a free for all, a box fight. But like diving into uh how would you go about creating that? There's a bunch of tutorials I definitely recommend. You know, you've got Warforged, you've got like other tutorials that really like that will show how you build it, and then like dissect what they're trying to do, like learn the syntax, and just really dive into it is probably my best best tip.
I think
Yeah.
it also comes down to like uh take it at your own pace. You know,
Oh,
it's,
definitely. Yeah.
I mean, we unfortunately got the struggle of learning verse when documentation was wrong. So that was fun,
New.
but yeah, when it was all
When it was
new and
new,
fresh,
yeah.
and that was painful. But definitely, like, I think also like connect with people who are also doing verse. You know, it's amazing how much you can learn from somebody who's also doing it, you know, for them to teach you things that they have spent hours learning and figuring out. They could teach you in 10 seconds, you know. Like, if you're connecting with
Yeah.
people who also are doing verse, they can really save you time, with maybe something that just like you you yeah, it could be just a simple kind of thing that you're missing. But
Yeah, definitely the connection. There's so many times where someone may know the answer that you've been spending hours trying to find out. And like it's kind of having that collaboration in some way. You know something they may not know, kind of vice versa. Um, yeah, definitely the connections.
Awesome. Yeah, just kind of throw yourself in, dive in, and all the templates and stuff. We also yeah, we're working on we're gonna have a verse live stream this month, and hopefully I'll be able to announce that next week, and that should go dive like deep into it. and we'll have it here in the Discord as well on YouTube and Twitch. So that should be really helpful as well. And the team will be there to answer questions. So keep an eye out for that too.
Awesome.
As a heads up, I know we're seeing a lot of questions about Creative Royale. This is not about Creative Royale, and it's not about questions to Epic. So please stay on topic so we can be polite to our guests and their time. But if you do have a question about that, feel free and send it to the forums. That's what that's for. Let's see. Ooh, okay. So we talked about a little bit of this, being brothers, working together, building islands, being in game development. Of course, it probably has its challenges just as much as it has its advantages. But how, in its current state, do you leverage your relationship to enhance that creative process together?
I mean, I always walk into his room and we'll just bounce an idea with him, and it'll kind of back and forth. I mean, for us, like being in person definitely works like tenfold for ideas.
Yeah, I mean, we come up some of our craziest ideas that we've done in the past, but also planning on doing, come from just chatting away, and being like, this would be stupid. Let's try this. But
what if we did this? Yeah.
I mean, our relationship has definitely helped us kind of do some really cool things. In the whole aspect of it. I mean, like, especially with our team, we've got a team of 10 that we're always bouncing ideas on. And definitely, I mean, a lot of the times we'll kind of bounce ideas with the team, and then me and Kamui will bounce ideas together, and then we'll kind of come to some type of middle ground that works with everybody. I also, like, when I'm dealing with brands and clients and partners, a lot of the time I'll talk to Kamui and kind of be like, hey, is this even possible? Like, is this a good idea to kind of explore before I go pitching this? Or should we
kind of like instant feedback?
Yeah, instant feedback in terms of should I do this? Should I not? And majority of the time it's all good. Like, we kind of just really easily can, figure out what the different ring.
Oh no, I really heard it. We were there with you the whole time. We followed the ring to the ground.
But we're always talking, over Discord. Funny enough, we're only rooms apart, but also in person, we're always bouncing ideas whenever we see each other, which is great. But we're also yelling at each other. That's the realisticness of it. If for everybody who knows us and close with us, how much we yell at each other, and I think that's normal. We're family, we're brothers, and I think you're gonna have those good times and bad times, and I think that's just what's the kind of. We've had some very fun moments.
Yeah, I bet that's really cool. Did it bring you together closer as brothers being in the industry, or were you always really close?
I think in a way it definitely made us closer. I mean, we've always been close, but definitely been closer with this. I mean, because we're always talking, we're always working together, and
working 24/7 with each other.
Yeah. We've had times where, like, we've spent, like, I mean, the amount of times we spend days on end,
right?
No sleep, and I'm like, Kamui, unfortunately, we had to stay up for like another 24 hours.
Oh god!
Buy an energy drink. But it's led to some really good moments. I mean, it's I think it'd be difficult. It'd be difficult to not have this relationship in terms of building a lot of these things. I think having people you can connect to is very impactful. But got its pros and cons. Love Kamui, but I will yell at him if he does something.
Hey, you can be honest with each other because you've experienced so much life together, I bet. So it's easier to be direct, I assume.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's see. Oh, okay. So this is another really exciting one too. I love this. Someone asked if working at Zen Creative is a goal of mine. What would you recommend for improving my odds of joining in the future? Or I guess advice in general for joining a team or looking to join a team?
Yeah, I'm definitely in terms of I think jumping onto the any team side of things, explore what their needs are, and kind of what they're potentially missing, because those things are, if you stand out and you're kind of you're going to like fill in the gaps that they're missing, I definitely feel like one, more chances of joining, but also two, like, it's very helpful in terms of, because as teams we're always looking for ways we can kind of fill in the gaps. Like, I mean, our team, we've got a large range of different developers that we've kind of built from the ground up, in terms of the development side. We're a very development heavy studio. We build everything, almost everything, I'd say, from scratch. From
Yeah.
modeling to texturing to animation to characters to what else we do? Visual effects. We've got a really amazing team that does all of that. And so from our aspect, we're always looking for people who are experienced in those type of tool sets and are willing to push the boundaries. We've got some really crazy projects, and we are looking at expanding. So if you do have a skill set that you feel really confident in and you are looking for some work, we definitely are looking for that. But in terms of any team, it's definitely I guess in a way research, but also actually one thing that is very important with any team is trust. Trust is a very big thing. The reality is that a lot of people kind of don't take if you're going to join a team, understand that the NDAs and confidentiality is very, very important when it comes to this stuff. And some people don't get that. But if you are planning on joining a team, those are like must-haves to understand that, because if you're working, like, for example, if you're working with us, we take that very seriously. We work with a lot of branded clients that have very strict confidentiality clauses that, just want to make sure everybody's safe at the end of the day. And we've unfortunately learned that some people don't take it seriously.
Oh no.
But that's my thing, like, definitely in terms of the team space, but enjoy it. If you just I guess follow the rules to some extent, you can do some really cool things with teams. And like, I mean, the opportunities that we've had to be able to do as a team has been absolutely insane. So yeah, I mean, we're always looking for new talent. I think there's a lot of amazing talent that's out there. Some get, the tough part on our side is that it's really difficult to obtain talent because so many of them get taken from other teams. I feel like we're just like
scoop
which
them
is,
up. Oh
yeah, I mean, it's kind of like first in first serve, which is but
that's the industry. That's the
it
industry. So
is
don't worry. Yeah,
literally,
it just happens
yeah,
everywhere.
it happens
Not-
everywhere. So
yeah.
yeah, I mean, but
Yeah.
teams are definitely looking for people who are wanting to grow, and there's some really big things you can do with teams. So
Yeah.
if you're feeling confident in yourself and you want to, and another thing you can do is
Yeah.
post about what you're doing, really
Yeah.
showcase what you're doing, because a portfolio is super important. If we've had multiple times where people have come to us saying, hey, look, I do this, and we're like, oh great, that looks cool, do you got a portfolio? Oh no, we don't got a portfolio.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it doesn't even have to be like you worked with clients. Like, if you can showcase
Right.
your skill and your ability to do stuff,
Mhm.
it goes a long way. So if you're wanting to get into that side of the industry, definitely, just if you're making anything to do with, if you're doing modeling, texturing, animation, character design, whatever it may be, even level design, environmental design, like, if you're put out what you want to do, what your skill flat and what you enjoy, and to showcase everything and anything that you're doing, because
Yeah.
it goes a long way, especially when, like, we're trying to recruit people, we'll be on Twitter and well X now, and we'll be like, oh, this person's doing some really cool things. We should probably contact them and see if they're
Nice.
interested. So like it goes a long way.
There you go. That's a great call. Is there anyone, and this is a nice call out, is there anyone you know of that does this very well, that shows off their content in a way that is, easy to digest, shows exactly what they're doing, their skill set, like you think does a really good job at that?
Arrow one. Good old Tom Jank. I think you're in here. I've seen you in here.
Shout
You're
out to
doing some
Tom
really great
Jank.
stuff. Good meeting you at GDC. But he's a good
Nice.
example of somebody who's just putting stuff out there. And like just for fun. He's got his warm-ups that are really awesome to see and kind of really cool to see his
Always great to
ability.
wake
And
up to.
it's also like it's really interesting to see his like the large range of things he can do. So like it's stuff like that when you look at someone like Tom Jank and you're like, damn, like that's an asset. So definitely, if anybody
Good
else
quote.
yeah,
I love
put out content.
that.
Like I think if you're really wanting to make a name for yourself and do these bigger things, then definitely create your portfolio. Do what you love. It will show. But also, if you are planning on joining a team, be mindful about how you use social media. That's also another thing. Because
thank you for pointing that out, because I was going to ask you maybe if either of you had any thoughts of like, these are big like no-nos. Like if we saw that, we'd go, ooh, I don't know if we would work with that person. Yeah.
It's tough. I mean, I've seen some really great talent where like they are phenomenal what they do, but they are really bad on social media. I mean, social media, you can do what you want, right? Like at the end of the day, it's your kind of presence. But from a professional standpoint, like, you want to make sure your stuff that you're presentable, especially not diving into drama and all that stuff. As much as it may be tempting sometimes to be like, damn, I want to comment on that and kind of and show some insights to give your views in a way. Sometimes it's better not to. So if you are planning on going to this space, definitely just be mindful. You can post, you can do that type of stuff. Just avoid anything that can be, potentially a conflict. Just because if you are part of a team, it can indirectly, wouldn't say influence, but indirectly affect the team to some extent, especially with like image. We work closely with Epic and we work closely with a lot of different brands, and unfortunately the last thing they want to deal with is, oh, this person is causing a lot of drama on social media, and then it comes back to us. So that's just something to be real with, that a lot of people don't take into consideration. Just be mindful. You can still participate to some extent in what you post and what you comment on, but if you're saying some really hot takes
stuff.
on
it's a double-edged sword, right? Because you could say a hot take. I've said like a hot take in my past, but it ended up being like backed by Phil Spencer and like big people in the community, so it did very well. And then there's been times where I said like a hot take, and then it was one little thing that kind of new news threw it off, and then it just became this whole thing. I was like, oh my gosh, so I just stopped entirely because I was like, it wasn't worth the gamble, guys. It's not worth it.
Sometimes you gotta pick your takes.
Sometimes you gotta pick.
I mean, we've had some interesting posts that have come up, and we're like, damn, we really want to comment on that. Like, we had our My Hero experience that went out, and I mean, you kind of get like a divide between people like going, well, this is really done really well, and people that are like, this is terrible. And one of the things that happen with branded experiences is that sometimes you don't get to build it the way you want. Like, and sometimes well, I mean, we were able to build it the way we want, but sometimes we can't build it to the source material.
Yes, okay.
And some people don't get that. So they're like, damn, like, these guys don't know what they're doing. I was like, no, well, we do, and we would love to do that.
Sometimes
we can't, but just, I mean, it's interesting. I think just making sure that you're keeping a well-mannered kind of presence on social media. I mean, you can definitely indulge in
Yeah.
some things here and there as long as it's not like, I think we just don't want to deal with cancel material. We don't get to that point.
I want to get canceled. Yeah, I saw this every day in like streaming content creation for sure, where it was hard to describe because it was such a community for that.
Yeah.
But I just only ever really saw it backfire on people. It was just hard because I also want them to speak their minds, but I feel like, but also every time you do, like it's just you lose like all these people. I mean, it's the same reason companies have giant PR teams, you know, it's like
Yeah,
they have to check
exactly.
everything.
And I mean, like I know some people that are unfortunately very vocal on social media that have, unfortunately, it's kind of done them it's been worse off for
Backfire.
them. Yeah,
Yeah.
backfired.
Oh.
Where like some people are like, well, I don't want to work with them because they're really disruptive or that. So it's those type of things. Like, you know, you want to be able to speak your mind, and that's fine, but there's a time and a place and a way to do it. So
Yeah.
it's just something to keep in mind. You know, it's a very professional space, and just as long as you kind of keep that in the back of your head, you're sweet.
Yeah.
You don't have to be
Yeah, I
super
would.
careful. You just
Yeah.
have to just don't be. If you're looking at something you're going to tweet and you're unsure if it's going to be a good idea,
And your gut says
definitely
you're not
run
sure.
a
Yeah.
definitely run it past someone because they'll tell you if
Yeah.
it's a good idea or not. You know, that's something we've had in the past where we're like, someone's wanted to say something, but they're not too sure. And it's just a simple like, oh, yeah, you can, or you can't, or maybe you need to change this. So
I have a
that's the reality
weird
of it.
suggestion that I have actually like seen used and used in some circumstances. But Chat GPT. I saw
It can help.
someone yeah actually send a message and say, ChatGPT, as you know, thinking at it from the point of a PR team or something, what you know, what good things and bad things could come from this? And I've tested it too before just to see when I heard that. And it really does, like, if
Dives
you
into
have
the
a gut
detail.
feeling,
Yeah.
yes, and it'll be like, here's what could happen that's really bad for you, here's what could
Yeah.
happen that's good. The odds, like, what do we suggest? If I was PR, I would suggest that it actually works.
It's own your own personal PR. Yeah, it's
Yeah, it's
interesting.
wild.
Actually, that's a. I might keep a note of that.
Yeah, you it's definitely an interesting one, a
What's the
weird
worst that
hack
could
that I
happen?
heard. Oh God. I
Yeah,
guess
let
the
me
worst that could
ask.
happen is if it was ever exposed, it'd be like, so and
Yeah.
so was asking. But anyway, I digress. But that is an excellent point. I will also say if your brand is someone who is a little more edgy, in a
Oh
space,
yeah.
I definitely wouldn't say it would happen on our platform. It just probably would not survive considering the audience and everything we have right now. But like for like streaming space or like content creation space or like maybe other UGC platforms, if that is your you know your brand and that's what speaks to you as being slightly more edgy, there's definitely an audience for that, and it's definitely a thing that you can do. But yeah, it's just hard,
Definitely. Yeah.
especially in also depending on the other brands you want to work with, right? And you guys know this, I'm sure. Like
Yeah.
some brands are slightly more okay with it, and some brands are like, no way in heck I would touch that person with a 50-foot pole, like period. So
Yeah.
there's, you know, there's levels depending on who it is.
Yeah.
But
I
the
mean,
safest bet is to go over here and just be like, yeah, I'll be, you know, brand safe. If
yeah.
I
I mean,
want
we have
those.
it. I mean, we've had some brands that are like, no, you definitely cannot do this, and this. You know, a number of things, and then we have brands who are like, go crazy. You know, like,
Nice, yeah.
let's do some really crazy stuff and say some crazy stuff. So
Have fun with
it's interesting.
it.
It really depends. But yeah, it's also like, yeah, in terms of your presence, you know, brands sometimes look at that and they're like, do we want to associate with this brand because they do this, and this? So
Yeah, you never
things to
know.
consider.
Yeah, you never know. And you can always ask them too if you go to like GDC or Unreal Fest and you do run into those kinds of people. you can always, I'm sure they would be honest if you just ask them in person, like certain things or what worked, because I've definitely
Yeah.
seen that too. But that was a really, we spoke a lot about that, but I think it was really important. I don't think we've touched on maybe a little bit before, but I think that was really important. So thank you for mentioning that. I know we're at time. I want to kind of finish with one good last question for you all, and then just kind of anything you want to talk about in terms of Zen or what's to come if you'd like. But we got a lot of questions about like marketing, getting featuring, things like that. You talked a bit about like being on social and be on X and things like that. But are there any like big tip recommendations that come to mind? And I know also it was Kamui, right? Kamui, you had reach at the beginning, you had the content, the creator code at the beginning. Is there any advice you all have for marketing your islands? Like if you have one or two hot tips?
Um, I think one of the ones that I would say is I mean, it kind of goes back to what I was saying. Post what you're doing, because you'll be very surprised who's looking, and who can kind of like, if your island's out there and it's a really cool island, it can, go places realistically. If it's not getting shown anywhere, or you have something that doesn't really sell the idea, it can sometimes work backwards. But it also comes down to it's how you market as well. I think the most important thing you can do is showcase how your game is played. One of the things that's kind of been, I mean, it was a lot more prominent in the past, was like, I used to do trailers with the community and Epic and those things here
Oh,
and
nice.
there.
Yeah, that's
And
right. We talked about that.
yeah, and one of the things that people kind of, they try to make this super, super fancy trailer that shows nothing about the game whatsoever, or doesn't show a lot. And people are like, well, what is it? Like, what do I,
No.
am I interested, right? You want to really,
Mm.
I think there's a way to do both. I think that you can do a really sick trailer that showcases some really cool aspects of it, or even like, I mean, you can get away with some really cool images as well that really showcase what's done right. So I think it really does come down to putting yourself out there and pushing. The more you post about it and the more traction and community that you build, the more that you can the more likely that things are able to pop off. But also how you market it is super important. um and it also goes a long way. Look up a couple of tutorials on how to make some really cool visual effects, or
Oh
graphics,
yeah,
and
yeah.
um how to make your kind of trailers and stuff pop out. It's not simple, but if you take a little bit of time, it can go a long way. um
Also Fiverr, also the community.
Fiverr is
Also,
great. And like, it's amazing, like there's some really talented individuals in terms of renders and trailers and all those
yeah.
type of things that can do really well, and you can dive into that can really make your islands pop. So yeah.
Awesome. Super. Any thoughts, Kamui? Any last thoughts on that one from that you
No,
had?
not really. He
Nailed it.
answers most of it. Yeah.
He nailed it. Sweet. Thank you both so much. Final question. We're getting a lot of hype in chat, and look, no pressure. I know y'all work on super top secret things. So, but wanted to ask you, looking towards the future, is there anything, exciting we can expect coming through from Zen Creative? Any, projects or developments on the horizon that you aren't comfortable sharing or you want to, or any like teases you want to give, or any insight overall on like where people can find you? Feel free, this is your time to share that.
um we've got a lot of things that we can't talk about.
You can't talk about, yeah, I
Yeah.
figured.
But we do have, I mean, we are building an experience that should be done in the next couple of days. We're just trying to get
Oh,
like
cool.
So
trailer kind
small
of
one.
sorted for it. Just might as well make it fun and impactful. But we're building like
Yeah.
we've been working with the Lego tools to build this little mini experience that should be kind of fun and chaotic, that hasn't been done before, if I'm correct.
Ooh.
But it's pretty fun. We'll put that out there. And for those who know us, and I know some people out there are going to be like, well, this is the
Mhm.
10th time you said you're going to build something.
Oh.
We are going to build something. It already is built.
It's
So
only
we're
been
sweet.
a year and a half, but
It's only taken us a year and a half to put stuff out.
we've got more
Oh.
than one project. Don't
We've been
worry.
very busy on the behind the scenes side of things,
Mm.
brands, and also helping a lot of these other projects kind of come to life. So, but I
Yeah.
think we should be able to get something out next couple of days that should get that ball rolling. But we are ready to tackle 2024 with a ton of really great content. It's just a
Nice.
matter of time. But we as well, there's a lot of projects coming in the belt as well, like in terms of later on in the year that are super
Yeah.
cool. We're just waiting for those to go out, so keep an eye out. We are One thing that we are doing is we are planning on rebranding.
Ooh, fun.
So we may be known as Zen Creative now, but we probably be known as something else later. But we
Cool.
are still in the works with that. Um,
I'm excited to hear how it
it's
goes in that
Yeah,
experience and like what recommendations you have and learnings after going through that.
yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's a risky move, but I think it's something that we need to kind of do moving forward, and to keep
Yeah.
things fresh. And
Yeah.
our ultimate goal as a studio is to kind of turn this into a AAA game studio at some point.
Right.
So we're wanting to make those moves now as to how we do that.
Nice.
But really cool things in store. Keep an eye out. If you aren't following
Yay.
our socials, follow them, because um, some really cool stuff in store.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you both so much for your time. Thank you, audience, for coming and hanging out with
Thank
us
you.
and for the awesome
Thank you.
questions. I appreciate you all, staying on topic best as possible and making this a really fun time. And for sharing your thoughts and insights too in chat. It means a lot. And yeah, thank you again to Blanky and Kamui for coming on. I know you guys just got back from GDC. We all did. So I really appreciate your time and energy being here with us today after the long haul and everything. So thank you all so much.
So, thank you so much, Shane.
Thank
I
you.
really appreciate it, and really appreciate the opportunity. It's been awesome.
We appreciate you guys so much. Well, with that, we will say goodbye and reminders to you all. We're in several video platforms, so if you have to do this, so you don't leave it up on accident, like I've done before. But so with that, I'll say goodbye. Bye, everyone. Bye, Blanky. Bye, Kamui.
Bye. Bye.
Bye,
See you soon.
community. See you all soon.